Thank you for the kind introduction, President Rowe. President Rowe, Provost Halloran, members of the Board of Visitors, faculty and staff, and most importantly, members of the freshman class, transfer students, and first-year graduate students, I'm just so honored to be here. Welcome to Williamsburg. Welcome to your new home and to your new tribe. I promise to keep it brief, humbled by the fact that I cannot recall the name of my own convocation speaker. I just remember the heat and the hard chairs. So I know how hard you worked to get here. You spent countless hours studying. You devoted time to your passions outside the classroom, whether it was athletics, the arts, debate, or some activity involving computers that your parents either brag or complain to their friends about, but don't understand in the slightest. Many of you have already fought for causes greater than yourself, and on behalf of people less fortunate than yourself, striving to better your community, your country, and your planet through acts of service. You've taken different paths to be here, but they've all led here, converging in this magnificent place. So congratulations on reaching this milestone. It wasn't easy, you had to earn it. And I know you've made the people you love incredibly proud. And I'm sure they're at home right now missing the heck out of you, but probably also making plans to convert your old bedroom into a new entertainment center. You've stepped foot on a campus steeped in history and tradition, one that traces its lineage back to when America was not yet a country, but a collection of colonies. This university educated many of the men who built our nation, and at that point, only men were fortunate enough to attend William and Mary. It taught some of the founding fathers who declared our independence, who led the revolution to win that independence, who crafted our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, and who established the democratic institutions that have endured over time. Of course, the history of William and Mary, like the history of this Commonwealth and this country, was not perfect. In the chronicle of our country, acts of justice, inclusion, and moral courage are ever present, but instances of injustice are evident as well. And round after round, hope and fear have traded punches like two powerful boxers. Hope has been knocked down on occasion, but it's never been knocked out. In a real sense, the story of America is the struggle for the soul of America. And one constant theme in this struggle has been the effort to realize the promise at the heart of the Declaration of Independence. The fight to ensure that Jefferson's immortal phrase, that all men are created equal, truly means all men, including people of color, and that it means all women too. And that's why I'm especially grateful to be here with you as we commemorate the 100th anniversary of the admission of women to William and Mary. It is a powerful and fitting that President Catherine Rowe is presiding over this evening's convocation. And so I stand here, the first Vietnamese American woman elected to Congress, sharing a stage with the first woman chosen to lead this great university. And I look out at all of you, a sea of faces composed of young men and women of every race and creed. And I feel motivated by our past, inspired by our progress, and hopeful for our future. Above all, I feel pride and joy. As William and Mary's newest students, you're about to embark on your next journey. And it's a privilege to me to offer you a few words of advice as you set off. But before that, like any self-respecting politician, I want to talk about myself first. So 22 years ago, in the summer of 1996, I sat right where you're sitting right now. And I was doing my best to appear calm and composed, but inside, I was freaking out. How I arrived in Williamsburg is worth sharing because although the stories of William and Mary alumni like Jefferson and Washington are more iconic, my story is also a very American story. I was born in Vietnam in 1978, several years after the war had ended. A communist government had taken power, and it was determined to punish those who had worked alongside American or South Vietnamese forces during the war. And my parents fell into both of those categories. When I was a baby and my brother was 8, my mom and dad concluded that a difficult situation had become intolerable. They wanted us to live in a place where we would be safe, where we would have freedom and dignity, where we would have the opportunity for a better life. And they didn't think any of that was possible in Vietnam. So we fled Vietnam by boat in the dead of night. By attempting to escape, my parents took the risk that we might not survive the passage. But they had decided it was better for our family to die together in search of light than to live in darkness. And several days into our journey, our boat ran out of fuel, and we were dangerously adrift. I imagine the adults on the boat must have thought the end was near. But thanks to grace or good fortune, however, a U.S. Navy ship patrolling the area located our boat. The sailors on board showed compassion for desperate strangers, giving us the fuel and supplies we needed to reach a Malaysian refugee camp. And this was a moment that made the rest of my life possible. Although I was too young to realize it, this was also my first lesson in America's uniquely wonderful combination of power and generosity. After spending several months at the refugee camp, my family once again became the beneficiary of American kindness. President Carter, in the face of public skepticism, made the politically courageous decision to increase the number of refugees from Southeast Asia that the United States would accept. This policy change set the stage for a Lutheran church in Virginia to sponsor my family's passage to the United States. In the course of our physical journey from Vietnam to America and our emotional journey from darkness to light, my family had accrued a debt of gratitude to this country that, try as I might, I could never fully repay. And although we were beyond grateful to be living in the United States, our life here was far from easy. My parents did everything they could to make ends meet and to provide a better life for my brother and me. Like many refugees who escaped danger and disorder in their native land, they were deeply loving, but very strict and cautious. I had my moments of adolescent rebellion, but they were pretty tame and maybe even a little lame. So when I arrived here and sat where you're sitting now, I felt overwhelmed. I had known adversity. I had worked hard, but my life experience was limited. I had no idea what to expect here or whether I was ready. And the reason I will always treasure this place is that, contrary to my fears, I was welcomed into this close-knit community and into this loyal, loving tribe. My American story merged into the larger American story that William and Mary embodies. It was in Williamsburg, a place so central to the American experiment, that this abstract idea called the American dream began to assume real meaning for me. I experienced firsthand that with hard work, a little humility, and a helping hand from others, you can change your life for the better within a generation. Regardless of how modest your upbringing, where your parents were born, your race or gender, or all those other factors beyond your control, you can overcome the odds and achieve your dreams. That is the promise of America. And William and Mary helped me realize it. It gave me the confidence to confront any challenge, and it made me feel like I belonged. My 4 years on campus, from the moment I walked through Wren Portico as a freshman to the moment I rang the Wren bell as a senior, were transformational. I learned so much from my professors and my peers. I made great friendships, some of which have endured until this very day, and I had a ton of fun. All of it, I can assure you, in strict accordance with both Virginia and federal laws. That's why I'm so excited for you to begin your own journey through this place. So let me close with that advice I promised you. I said at the outset that the story of America is the struggle for the soul of America. And I believe we've reached one of those pivotal moments in our nation's history where this struggle, this battle between hope and fear, has become very intense. And lately, it can sometimes feel like the union that William and Mary graduates fought so hard to create and have since fought so hard to perfect is fraying at the seams. And if you've studied American history, you'll recognize that moments of deep division in our country are not unprecedented. But they should still be unacceptable to every American patriot. As someone who owes her life to this nation, who has never lost sight of its greatness, I refuse to accept this as the new normal. And please understand that our democracy is not self-sustaining. To survive and to thrive, it needs kind, smart, and engaged citizens. In other words, it needs you. You cannot fix America's problems or heal America's divisions on your own, but you can do your own part, and William & Mary can help you do it. That's because a great university is a training ground for a good citizen. You just need to take advantage of all that this place has to offer. Read as much as you can. Listen to experts so you can distinguish them from the imposters. Learn from your professors and your classmates. Whatever your major, try to study those principles, values, and ideals that have made our country exceptional. Because if you can't recognize them, then you won't realize when they're being tarnished or threatened. Be open-minded and be open to changing your mind. Your opinions can and should evolve, just like our nation has evolved over its history. Seek out those who look different than you, who come from different backgrounds than you, and who think differently than you. These can be the most fulfilling relationships you will form. Get outside your comfort zone and try to see the world from another perspective. You may discover empathy and enlightenment. Learn how to argue your point and how to persuade others. Nobody has ever changed anybody's mind by yelling at them, disrespecting them, or patronizing them. Stand up for your principles, but do it in a dignified and respectful way. The person you are trying to convince may not treat you as well in return, but this isn't about them, this is about you. If you do all these things, you will leave William & Mary prepared to be the good citizen that this great country needs so badly right now. I wish you the best of luck on your journey through life. You've done an incredible job so far. I know you'll keep making us proud. Thank you and good luck.